Bienvenido, bolas de güeyes, a otro capítulo de Los Compadres Podcast. Esta semana con el cabrón más chingón, Jay, y el baboso más imbécil, Marcos. Look at Marcos, bro. Looking like a goddamn pro over there on the couch, dude. He's got his cup of coffee. He's just sitting and chilling, dude.
Big nerd vibe right now.
I know, right? This man, dude. This man.
Well, I like how one said pro, the other one said big nerd.
Big nerd.
Thanks, Cesar.
Who gets?
I know you were the real.
Who gets some?
Yo,
puss.
if we had a camera right
I like
now,
how you said
Marcos.
some.
No, if we had if we did video, like Marcos would look so professional right now. He looks like he's from like California Silicon Valley scene with that cup of coffee in his hand too, dude.
And hold up, but when I said puss, I just meant his cats.
My racetrack coffee. Not even like an actual like good coffee either.
If it was Starbucks, you would fit it right there.
No,
I'm saying,
but I was really craving some like just regular coffee.
Say, that's totally tubular, bro.
Absolutely not.
Say,
that's not the same thing though.
Say, no, I guess more Silicon Valley would be like, I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know either.
I'd be like, I'm having anxiety because I can't code. My words per minute are down to 640. I can't code.
Are you about to climax?
I'm whining. I'm crying.
What is X equal?
My Java, my program is only 650 bugs.
Do you remember the crying race cars?
Oh yeah.
I miss you and I love you.
Oh, the whale one was funnier, bro.
Yeah. With the Snoop Dogg.
Oh yeah. The Snoop Dogg one was the best.
That was the best. Yeah.
I miss you and I love you.
And the beat drops, bro. It's just so funny.
For real, bro. For real. Yo. Oh my god.
So what you got for us this week, bro?
This week,
1995.
19. That comes after 1994, right?
I believe so.
So
my math is Yep.
So 1994 plus 1. Jay, pull the calculator out. You got.
I don't know how to use that.
Me either.
That's why I didn't go to college.
1994 plus 1.
That's all the reasons, but
yeah,
we assume that equals 1995. So 1995 is the year that Jay was born, right?
Unfortunately, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
yep.
I was muted. Sorry.
So, in 1995, the president was still Bill Clinton.
Bill Clinton.
Blil.
It was
Hey, yo, it's Blil.
Lil Blil.
Lil Blil. Nathan.
How do you
You good?
He's trying to say Nathan. Our vice president was Al Gore. Still. Yeah, that didn't change.
That's how it works.
All right. So in 1995, Valery Polyakov, right, Russian cosmonaut, broke the world record for spending the most amount of time in space. Okay. He spent 437 days and 18 hours in space. That roughly translates to about, I think it's like 20 months or 22 months.
Damn.
Around that time. Yeah. It's a long time. The record still stands till this day, right? He went from January 1st, 1994, which we confirm exists because, you know, we're allowing the 9-month allowance in 1994.
Mm-hmm.
And he was there till March 1995, right?
You think he had some vodka on him?
Maybe, but the biggest issue was that since he spent so long in space, he actually had massive like muscle loss.
Oh,
because
yeah,
he was like in 0G and stuff.
Damn.
So he like lost a lot of muscle mass. So when he came back, like he had to go through like therapy, like physical therapy, because he had to almost kind of learn how to walk. Like he was having trouble standing up under his own weight.
Damn, that's insane.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, it was crazy. In 1995, Nigeria was expelled from the British Commonwealth due to human rights abuses. There was a 7.3 earthquake in Kobe, Japan, killing 6,433 people.
RAP, bro.
I absolutely hated that. That's what you know.
That was the same year, by the way.
was so smooth. It was such a like. It almost felt like a soundboard. Like it was such a good. Oh my god!
I did not expect that. Okay, my bad.
I absolutely hated that.
Keep going.
Hey man, rest in peace, bro.
Yo,
Chill out,
bro.
Marcos. What's wrong with you, bro?
It's not him. I'm not having a problem with him. Rest in peace.
Oh
That's how you
man,
did that.
But that same year in Japan, there were terrorists. They relieved nerve gas in Kasumu Gaseki. It's a subway station, right? And they killed 12 people and hospitalized over 5,000.
Damn.
Yeah. In the U.S., though, there was an unprecedented heat wave where temperatures hit over 104 degrees for 5 days straight, and it killed at least 3,000 people.
That's when Jason was born.
Dude.
No, because that happened in the summer. Jason was born in was it winter? Spring?
Yeah.
February?
Yeah, February.
Yeah, but then, the world realized, oh man, Jason's alive. It's so hot now.
I guess, yeah.
That's what it
Also,
Thanks, bro.
in
Okay.
1995, O.J. Simpson was found innocent.
Oh, the glove didn't fit?
It didn't fit, so you must have quit. You know?
Damn, bro.
Yep.
95 wild.
Yeah, for real, right? 94 was the year that he was being chased in his Bronco.
Mm-hmm.
But enough about 94. We're on 95 now.
Facts.
Popular movies that released that year, right? Want to take any guesses?
95?
95?
Yeah.
Titanic?
No.
Armageddon was 96.
Independence Day? No, I think that was 94.
That was 94.
Um,
I'll just tell you, you're never going to guess.
Men in Black?
Toy Story, Apollo
Oh.
13, Pocahontas, 007 GoldenEye, Jumanji, and Braveheart.
Great game, by the way. GoldenEye.
Yeah.
Damn.
That was one of the best games.
That's what's up.
January 29th, the 49ers were the first team in NFL history to win 5 rings, making them the first team ever to do that. You
Nice.
know, they haven't won since. The top 5 popular songs of that year was Creep by TLC, Take a Bow by Madonna, This Is How We Do It by Montel Jordan.
This is how we do it.
Yeah. Have You Ever Really Loved a Woman by Bryan Adams, and Waterfalls
I
by
have
TLC.
never.
Continue on, Cesar.
No, I haven't heard.
Yeah.
I only heard the 3 songs by TLC, or I mean the 2 songs by TLC and the one by Montel Jordan.
Yeah.
I don't think I know any of these other
For
songs
next
on here.
week, can you skip my number 1 song?
No.
For next year?
Yeah.
No.
Why? What was it?
I
No.
absolutely
No.
hate that
No,
song.
that's not. We can't.
Nope, we can't.
We
It's
Can't
not
spoil
on
it.
here.
We can't spoil it.
I mean,
no.
different websites might have different things, right?
True.
According to Siri.
Top 5 TV shows of 1995 are Seinfeld, ER, Home Improvement, Grace Under Fire. I've never heard of that ever in
Neither
my
have I.
life. You know, Home Improvement was with Tim Allen.
Yeah,
ER.
yeah,
Is ER
Improvement.
still on? Is
I
that
think
still
so.
going?
Yeah, ER is still on.
Wow.
Wow.
Holy
shit.
They should can that.
Wow.
Wow.
Seinfeld, great show.
Seinfeld's a good show.
And number 5 was Monday Night Football, which is still going on till today.
Wow.
Yeah.
I like Home
March
Improvement.
2nd, Yahoo was incorporated.
Yahoo.
Yahoo. All right. And so now the main event of, y'all remember that? The Yahoo from when you would watch the Yahoo commercials? And
Yeah.
There was always someone going,
Yahoo.
Yahoo.
Yeah. My favorite Yahoo commercial was when they integrated flashing lights. So good.
I don't remember that one.
You can check it out on YouTube.
You'll have to pull it up.
What was that? You
Shit's lit. I don't know. That was you. That wasn't me.
That
No,
yeah,
it was you.
That was
and then
me.
you try to make it. Never mind. Just keep
Okay.
that's weird. Anyways, Marcos is doing some weird stuff over there. So now for the main event of
Marco, stop
1995.
fingering yourself.
going. Jesus Christ.
So for the main event of 1995, right? March 31st, 1995. Selena Quintanilla Perez is murdered in Corpus Christi, Texas by the former president of her fan club, Yolanda Saldivar, just 16 days before her 24th birthday.
Damn, bro. That movie made me cry. Don't
That
want
movie
J-Lo.
made me- yeah, she was
Bro.
portrayed by J-Lo. Yeah, made me cry too. Her brother went to become a famous musician who
Mhm. Yeah, he has
released
some
a lot of good
bangers.
songs. Yeah, and then he started getting into fights with other artists,
Mhm.
and then he kind of fell off because he kept losing.
Was it Cumbia Kings, right?
Yeah,
was
Cumbia
his thing?
Kings. Yeah, Yeah.
Yo, she was an icon, bro.
She was, man. And she was only 23 years old when she died, bro. That's crazy.
She released so many bangers before she
did.
died, bro.
She really beady beady bum bum.
Bro, and then the 2 in English.
Oh yeah.
So good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. She was born April 16th, 1971.
Okay.
Right?
Damn, she was mid 40s.
She what now?
Yeah.
Yeah, she'd be close to 50.
No, she'd be 50.
She'd be 49,
50.
almost 50.
Damn.
Yeah. Yeah. You think she'd be like J-Lo 50 or you think she'd be like
hell yeah, she'd be J-Lo 50.
Yeah?
Hell yeah.
I believe it.
Arguably better than J-Lo.
Yo,
Yeah.
dead ass.
Like
yo, she was beautiful,
like a
bro.
Shakira 50?
Yeah.
She was beautiful, man.
She was.
beautiful.
She absolutely was. So she was a singer, songwriter, spokesperson, model, actress, and did you know she was a fashion designer?
Yes.
Yeah, I think in the movie it says that there's a scene where she's like
She had her
designing
own,
her thing.
She had her own store. They called her the Tejano Madonna. Modana.
I think we're gonna say modelo.
No, they called her the Tejano Madonna. Say that. Tejano Madonna.
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 Now say it in Spanish.
Tejano Madonna. I can't say it.
It's hard.
Tejano Madonna.
It's hard. All right. So about Saldivar, right? Saldivar was the person who killed her.
Yeah.
She was a nurse from Texas, right? She convinced Selena's father to let her start a fan club in Corpus Christi, right? She became the president and the manager of the fan club and Selena's clothing line, Selena ETC.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why she named it that, but I think it's a great name, right? The fan club reached 1,500 members in less than 4 years and eventually became the largest fan club in the San Antonio area, right? Selena's family discovered that Saldivar was embezzling money from both the fan club and the boutiques.
Damn.
So she was trying to cut herself a check, right? So she was fired on March 1st, right? Just 31 days before Selena's death, right? Selena needed documentation from Saldivar, who claimed to have been raped and needed to be taken to a hospital. So Selena takes Saldivar to a hospital. The hospital's like, yo, we can't really do the testing kit here because it happened. She claimed that she was raped in Mexico, happened in Mexico.
Yeah.
So then she's like, you have to go to a different hospital, and they tell her what hospital to go to. And so they go back to like basically a hotel room where they were staying while they were trying to figure this whole thing out, you know? And so Selena asks her again, she's like, I need the papers, right? And so at that point, they start arguing, and let's see, Saldivar pulled out a .38 Taurus Model 85 revolver and shot Selena in the back, right, severing an artery. Selena ran towards the lobby as Saldivar chased her and called her a bitch. She died of blood loss at 1:05 p.m. and Saldivar was cornered by police when she attempted to flee. She threatened to kill herself, but the police was like, nah, don't do that. So then she didn't. So she got caught. She was arrested. The trial had to be moved to Houston because her lawyers said that she would not receive a fair trial in Selena's hometown of Corpus Christi, right? So Saldivar said she didn't mean to kill Selena, that it was unintentional. But the prosecution argued that the gun required 11 pounds of force to pull the trigger, and that Saldivar was a registered nurse and she failed to administer any type of aid or even call 911.
True.
Right? So the gun in question is a revolver. Revolvers, for most of them, don't really have a safety mechanism, you know, but they do have these long pull triggers, right?
Yeah.
11 pounds is a noticeable amount of force.
Yeah.
Like, that's not an accident. Like, you meant to pull that,
Yeah.
you know? Like, you have to get, like, one of these newer guns, like a Glock or something, or, like, a Smith & Wesson STV-9 to, like, get a trigger, like, mod to get it down to 3 pounds.
Yeah.
Which, 3 pounds, okay, like, that's 3 pounds of force. Like, you can pretty much do that, like, just pushing something over. But 11 pounds of force is a lot.
Yeah.
You know? Like, if you bench a 3-pound dumbbell versus an 11-pound dumbbell, or not bench, I'm sorry, curl, you know the difference, right? So they went through. They presented all of the evidence. The jury deliberated for 3 hours, and she was found guilty. And she was sentenced to life in prison with possible parole after 30 years. She'll be eligible for parole on March 30th, 2025.
I thought she was already out.
I don't know. It says that she was still doing time.
Okay.
When I checked last night.
Okay.
Right. And so governor of Texas at the time, who do you guys think that was?
Bush.
Yeah. George Bush. Yep. George Herbert Walker Bush declared Selena's birthday Selena's Day.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah.
So it's a day over there, bro, in Texas.
Freaking icon, man.
I'm saying, bro. Yeah, she was an icon. She was an icon, bro.
Hell yeah.
She was great.
She could have done. Actually, she could have been so big, bro. Like
I'm saying, bro, because like when she died, she was big in the U.S., but she wasn't. I wouldn't say she was mainstream.
Yeah.
You know, like she could have gone super mainstream.
Like
international. Yeah, exactly. Because like,
damn.
I mean, you got to think like her music was in Spanish and in English. Mm-hmm. You know,
and she can do both.
Exactly, bro.
Yeah.
And like music has like it has undefined languages, bro. Because you'd be surprised how much music in the U.S. is very popular internationally as well.
Oh hell yeah, bro.
You know, and vice versa. Mm-hmm. Like music from around the world is sometimes super popular here in the U.S.
Mm-hmm. Like just look at K-pop.
Yeah, K-pop. K-pop's one of the biggest things. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's pretty good. It's pretty good too.
Arguably, yes.
Well, I argue that it is.
Yeah. That's what I said.
Yeah,
it's from 1995.
Yeah, I mean, do you guys? I got the Oklahoma City bombing here. Yeah, that happened on April 19th. So an ex-army soldier. What?
No, never mind. Selena's birthday was April 16th.
Yeah.
Okay, never.
Yeah, this was a couple days after. So ex-army soldier Timothy McVeigh parked a rented Ryder truck in front of the Alfred P. Murrah Federal Building in downtown Oklahoma. Right. He made a powerful bomb out of agriculture fertilizer, diesel fuel, and other chemicals. He got out of the car and locked the doors, and he lit 2 remote fuses, and the bomb went off precisely at 9:02 a.m. The bomb exploded. I cannot talk. Oh, my God.
Sorry, bro. Take your time.
The bomb exploded and killed 168 people, 19 of whom were children.
Damn.
I know, bro. You want to know
that's fucking sad.
That's not even the crazy part about this, right? The crazy part about this was that when they finally like identified that the truck was rented out to this McVeigh guy, he was already in jail. He got pulled over 90 minutes after the explosion, north of Oklahoma, where he got arrested because he had a concealed carry weapon on him without a permit. So they arrested him. They were able to pin this on him and the 2 other accomplices, and the dude was already in jail. So they kind of like already had him on different charges. He did it because he was mad at what happened in Waco, Texas 2 years earlier, which would have been in 1993, which we don't know if really happened or not. So, you know.
Wait, he was mad because of the Waco thing?
Yeah.
The Waco siege?
I guess, Marcos. I don't know. Before 1994, nothing existed, so we're not sure.
I mean, the siege, I think, was in 92, 93. I believe so.
I know you say that, but like, I'm actually really curious now if it's about the Waco siege.
I think it was. It was 92, 93, I think. Yo, that'd be crazy. Like,
yeah, 93, February 28, 1993 to April 19, 1993.
I didn't know that.
I didn't know that was tied.
Yeah, me neither.
Yep.
That's crazy.
It was a federal building, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, it makes sense because...
What federal building was it?
You gotta give me a second. I gotta open.
That makes sense because obviously, like, a lot of people felt like, you know, the government went too far.
Which they did.
The Alfred P. Murrah Federal Building in downtown Oklahoma.
Holy shit.
Yep.
By the way, good show on Netflix if you haven't seen it.
Waco?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, not like great, but like it's good. It's watchable. Like 7.5. I'll give it.
True. But yeah. Are you going to tell us about something that happened in a year that we haven't even covered, Marcos?
No. I'm just looking up something about the building.
Oh, okay. But yeah, man, 1995, bro, the scary year. Not a lot of great things happened that year.
No.
It was a lot of bad stuff. I was trying to find something positive. The only positive thing I could find was that Toy Story came out that year.
Yo, I love Toy Story so much.
Toy Story is such a good movie, bro. Well, you got Tim Allen.
What was it, the third one that made me cry?
And the fourth one, too. The fourth one was sad, too, bro.
Which one's the one with the purple bear?
Yeah, that's the third one. Yeah. That's the one where they're all in the incinerator. They about to burn up.
Damn, bro.
And then the claw.
The fourth one is the new one. Or the latest one, right?
Ah, there you go. That's why.
What?
It held the DEA and the ATF in that building.
ATF.
So it was targeted for that building specifically
ATF,
for a reason.
The anti-terrorist force?
No, alcohol, tobacco, and firearms.
Yeah.
Which is the people that did the siege in Waco, Texas.
Really?
Yeah, they're the perpetrators of the siege.
Wow.
Yeah. I don't think we need like a transition every single time.
I just punched the mic. That was retribution for last week.
He said.
But it's that hurt my ears, bro. Don't do that ever again. That fucking hurt.
Yo, you're gonna be driving the car, just clack clack, get smacked.
Just listening to this at all max volume in the car and
just get smacked.
Oh man, bro, I love those TikToks, bro. The ones where like people, they like something happens and then they start fighting and you just you just see someone get hit and then they just like fold over like a lawn chair, bro. That shit's so funny, dude. That shit's so funny.
I wish I never get hit like that,
bro. For real, right? I don't want to get folded like a lawn chair. Dog.
For real, dude.
Oh my god, bro.
So I have a question for y'all.
What's up?
You think at this current moment in time, cancel culture is like a little too much, or do you think like it's okay, like what's going on with it and stuff like that?
So I always thought, and this is just me personally, I always thought that cancel culture was a little bit too much, like forever, you know, like to begin with. It's like, because there are some where it's like recent events, like someone says something in that moment and it's like, okay, cool, like you're canceled, like you shouldn't have said the things you said, right? Especially like if you said them out of hatred or you say it because you mean it, like you know, someone what's happening a lot recently is you got a lot of white college football coaches who have been recently caught saying the N-word, right? And most of them, like, they just get a slap on the wrist.
Yeah.
Right? An example, like the TCU coach, where like players had a lot of practice and made national news, but nothing happened.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, they haven't said anything, but at least he should get suspended. You know? Yeah. Like, you shouldn't say that. Like, even if you're saying like,
and suspended without pay.
Exactly. Without pay. Like, make his pocket hurt, and that is gonna, you know, have him change his opinion. But when you bring something up that someone said 10 years ago and you try to cancel them, that's too much, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Because you always have to remember that, unfortunately, like, the times were different. And it's like, if people weren't held accountable back then, why are you trying to hold them accountable now?
Yeah.
You should have held them accountable back then.
Yeah.
You know, you should, like, people have always been listening. They've always been out watching. It's just like now it's like everybody is trying to, I feel like everybody's trying to be like
a social justice warrior.
Whatever. And they're not doing it for the right reasons. They're not doing it because they want social justice. I think they're doing it for the clout.
I feel like more recently, like I wouldn't say like in love, but we're entertained or like we're looking for the downfall of someone, you know?
Exactly.
Like for the night of like that Twitter or whatever the case may be, or that social media, like it's just full of drama, right? You know, and like there's memes and there's like just a bunch of like opinions going everywhere, right?
Exactly.
So for me, I think it's case by case.
I absolutely think it is on a case by case basis.
I don't think you can. I really don't think you can generalize it. I really don't think you can generalize it. I think it's in case by case, and I think for sure, like the ones like the 10 years, like for example the Kevin Hart one, right? Like I think, yes, you know, like you said, like at the time they said, unfortunately, times were different, and it wasn't like held accountable, whatever. And I get maybe like bringing it up and being like that wasn't cool, right? And you know, you let them know whatever, and if they apologize, cool, whatever. But I don't think they should suffer any like financially or like suffer like losing a job or suffer like their sponsors or anything because of that. Right. Because the times were different, unfortunately.
Right.
And I'm pretty sure he wasn't the only one doing that. You know, there was a lot of people doing it. So it's like, and at that time, like it was okay. Like it wasn't, but it was socially, right? Like,
yeah,
because no one held them accountable, right?
Exactly.
So I don't know. I just, for those for sure, I think that it's just like you gotta look at it at a time.
Mm-hmm.
Like if he said that now, for sure, off the bat, you're like,
yeah, you're
bro.
like, bro, like what are you doing?
Come
what are
on.
you saying?
Yeah,
but
exactly.
It's like the same thing, like with James Gunn. You know, it's like, okay, he tweeted some dumb stuff, was 7-8 years ago, right? And it's like, all right, you're gonna bring it up 7 years later, and it's like, why? What's the point? You know, like especially because people's views and opinions change all the time. Like people act like you can't change your views and your opinions.
Yeah.
You know, like you can think one way and then like the next day think a completely different way. Because why? Because things out there change your mind. You know, and most of the time it's for the right thing, right? So I mean, just think about it. Most recently, like the whole George Floyd thing, right? Everybody knew that Black Lives Matter was a movement. Everybody knew what Colin Kaepernick was trying to do. Yet people completely ignored it. They pushed it the other way. They said it was about the flag. They said it was about this. It was about that.
Yeah.
Right. But now people have like paid more attention. They're like, oh, this is what this man was talking about.
Yeah.
This is what this means. Like people can change their minds, you know? And it's like, okay, like before you thought all lives matter. And now you think, oh, it's not a movement of just saying like Black lives are better than other lives. No, like this movement is saying like we can't say that we're truly equally and that all lives matter if we still see Black lives as less than all other lives. You know? So that's the thing. It's like people's minds can change.
Yeah.
You can absolutely, I don't think nearly the same that I thought a year ago when we started this podcast.
Or even when we were like teenagers, bro.
Or when we were teenagers.
Like we said stupid shit.
We said dumb stuff in public, in person. We tweeted it. And that was just the time. That was just the culture back then. But our opinions have changed a lot.
Yeah.
We understand more. We resonate more with those people. We kind of like get an idea of, you know, what they're going through and what they understand. And we try to be more compassionate about it.
Yeah.
And it's like how like people's opinions change.
Yeah.
I'm 100% sure back then I can't speak, you know, in positives, but so I shouldn't say 100% sure, but I'm almost 99% sure back then Kevin Hart wasn't homophobic.
Yeah.
And I'm almost 99% sure he's not homophobic today.
Yeah.
You know, I can't say for sure. Maybe he was back then and now he isn't.
Yeah.
But the thing is like people's minds change as the world changes. People's opinions evolve. So you could be the best. Like it happens all the time. People have epiphanies. They change their life, right? They become born again Christians. They do this, they do that.
Yeah.
And it's like, what do you know, you have to be willing to accept that.
Yeah.
No, I think that it's definitely like it. There's two major, well, at least for me, one major parameter with cancel culture, and it's time frame. So I completely agree with you guys. Like, there's a lot of times, and there's a lot of like moments where, like, I even myself, when you're mentioning the whole Black Lives Matter thing, when the whole Colin Kaepernick thing showed up, and the whole like Black Lives Matter movement showed up, or at least when it became mainstream. I used to be against it personally. I used to be like, oh, you know, lives matter, not all lives, not Black lives, but all lives matter because you can't generalize whatever. You can't say this, you can't say that because you're not more important than another, whatever. And the same thing with the flag, like, oh, it's like, oh, that's disrespecting not the people that serve, but like I was like, that's disrespecting the tradition of the sport, whatever the case may be. And I got called out on it, and I think Jason was actually one of them at one point. And the more, you know, I saw things for myself, the more I read for myself, the more I realized, damn, there is police brutality. Damn, like it's not just about not listening to the police. Like there's systematic racism still alive and well out there. The more I grew up, because I was what, 4-5 years ago now, when that all started. The more I understood, the more I did my own research, the more I stopped listening to other people's opinion and I listened and I did my research for myself, the more I grew up with it. And the more I understood where everything is, and the more I understood that Black Lives Matter is not just making them more than others, it's saying that they want equality.
Rights.
They want equal rights.
Mm-hmm.
They're not less. They matter. They are equal to everybody.
Yeah.
And all lives matter won't matter if Black lives don't matter.
Yeah. Exactly.
So I grew up with that, and I myself had at fault with that, and I myself had at fault with a lot of things I've said before. Then now I'm like, that was a different person.
I mean, honestly, I think that if any of us, I mean, the internet exists, and the internet is a timeline, right?
Yeah.
But if any of us could go back and see what we were saying, what we were tweeting back then, let's go back 10 years.
Yeah.
Right. Like, it would be insane. We wouldn't say the same things today.
Absolutely not.
When you're younger like that, you're absolutely an edgelord.
Yeah.
Of course.
You are. And so to a certain extent, it's like you should hold your children accountable to what they say, as far as like what's public, because the public record, anyone can pull it up at any time.
So okay, so let me stop you there. So my bad, but
No, go ahead.
so we all can agree that the timeline matters, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So okay, cool. And I think,
Well, actually, what's your opinion on this, bro? You never really told us what you thought about it.
well, the timeline.
No, just
Cancel culture?
Yeah.
I'm like 50-50 on it, man. Like I
Okay.
said, it has to be case by case
Mm-hmm.
because there's certain cases that I understand, like the R. Kelly. Like I understand that.
Right.
Yeah,
absolutely. 100%.
That's just like there's just nothing right, like nothing right about it,
Right.
and like he deserves to lose everything that
Right.
he had, right?
Yeah.
And I get that, and if he changes, cool, but you have to serve some time for what he
Right.
did, right?
Mhm.
Of course.
Same thing with Bill Cosby.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
all that, like I understand that's just like obvious off the bat, right?
Mm-hmm.
But there's like some instances where I just like I've read like on Reddit like examples that they post and like just like different opinions from people. And so I'm just like 50-50. I'm like, I honestly think it's case by case, but really what I think more about now is cancel culture is like even normal people are like dealing with it, right?
Right.
Mhm.
Like one viral video, one tweet or one post that just someone sees and then just retweets it or reposts it, whatever, and it catches attention.
Yeah,
and
like-
now you can go into your job and lose it, right? Things like that, right? So like it's gotten a lot bigger just past celebrities, right? So that's where like that's where I think it's like case by case for me, where it's like someone can be having a bad day, or someone just cannot be thinking, or someone just maybe says something and they didn't fully think about it, and then once you say it and other people read it or other people say something about it, now you're like, oh shit, I didn't click, right? Sometimes, not all the time. Sometimes people say some crazy ass shit, and honestly, like
They mean it.
and you put your foot in your mouth, and to actions there's consequences. So
right.
if your employer doesn't stand by you, then you lose your job, then it sucks.
So that's one thing, right? When you start to, I understand like you lose your job and stuff. And I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're good.
But when you start to like lose your job over things you say, I understand it, but then at the same time, I'm like, that's kind of taking away your freedom of speech to a certain extent.
yeah, but you gotta realize that on like your freedom of speech online is not like your employer doesn't owe you anything to that, right?
I would say so, yes, because it's still you basically you can't express yourself. You can't let out your opinion because there's fear of retribution. The retribution being your employer firing you.
Well, I get you what you're saying,
Right.
but we're not talking about not saying anything. We're not saying like you woke up and you said I want pancakes and you got fired for that. You still, or you like you woke up and you're like, I decided to vote for Trump. Like you can get fired for that. What I think cancel culture is to hold accountability to the people that are actively
Crossing the line,
like racism
or homophobic.
Or
Right. So
homophobia.
that makes sense.
because
but
honestly, and I get freedom of speech, but freedom of speech does not protect hatred,
right.
and
It
there is
doesn't
no place for
protect hate
hatred
speech.
anywhere.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Like
Right.
you saying the N-word actively,
Mm-hmm.
it's definitely something you should pay a consequence for.
Mm-hmm.
Because one, you're not, if you're not black, there's no reason why you should be saying it in the first place.
Right.
Like absolutely.
Mhm.
Or if you're throwing the F word against the LGBT community, like that's definitely something you should pay.
Right.
Like there's no reason for hatred to live anywhere.
Right.
Online,
Mm-hmm.
at home in your head, nowhere.
Right.
So I get what you're saying with freedom of speech. I don't agree in the sense that as long as it's coming from a place of hatred, you should definitely feel the consequence of that.
Okay, that makes sense to me. So that was one thing. So right. So let's say you make a joke, right?
Okay.
Poor taste, doesn't land because you can't convey it over tweet. Should you lose your job for that?
I mean, that's what happened.
Are you a comedian?
No, you're just.
That's what happened. That's what actually happened to a person. Her name was Justine Sacre or some shit like that, and it was like in 2013, and she was going to South Africa, I think, and she tweeted, and she was like, going to South Africa, whatever. Hopefully, I don't get AIDS. JK, I'm not because I'm white, right? So, like in her mind, it was a joke,
right? But when she landed, she got fired.
It was not tasteful at all.
It was not good taste.
And she had an 11-hour flight, and obviously Twitter just went crazy,
right?
Because some guy that was an editor or something caught it, was with one of her followers, and obviously like retweeted it, and then just caught fire because he had like 15,000, 20,000 followers, something like that. And by the time she landed, like obviously like their employer was like, they tweeted, they were like, she's in a flight, so we can't communicate with her. But basically, we were saying that they were gonna fire her, right? So it's like, that's the instance where, like, in her mind, it's a joke, it's racist, right?
Yeah.
But it was a joke or whatever, and it's just like she lost her job and everything. But at the same time, she was in PR.
Yeah. So that
better, bro. Like, come on, dog.
Yeah.
Like,
so that's what I was gonna say, right? I think my opinion is this: if you hold a high public position, like a high, like if you are the president, if you are a governor, if you are a mayor or something, right? Like, okay, yeah, because I mean, that kind of says a little bit about who you are, especially since you're the voice of like hundreds of thousands of constituents, right?
Yeah.
Millions in some cases.
Yeah.
But if you're like a school teacher or a store employee or something, like, like, how's that really gonna affect anything? Like, again, don't be racist.
Yeah.
You don't be racist. If you think you have a funny joke, it's like, just make sure that, you can convey it as much as a joke as possible. But I mean,
it's hard to do that. Like,
it is very hard.
Like, what I'm saying? Like,
here's the thing. Like, let's say you're a school teacher.
Because she had an interview with a journalist or something, and she was saying that basically, like, what she was saying is that she was trying to make fun of the people that think, like, because they're white, that they won't get it or things like that. Like, she didn't mean it. It's that she didn't think that people would take it literal, right? She didn't think that people would really think that she thinks that,
right?
So it was like sarcastic, but you can't convey that in
that makes sense.
Tweet. You can't. People are gonna read it and they're gonna take it how they take it.
Right.
So it's like, at that point, you gotta be smart about things. So it's just like, it sucks that you lost your job and shit like that. But at the same, and people make mistakes and we're all human. But at the same time, like, that's where I just feel like, okay, you got fired from your job, and you gotta take some time and, like, really think of what you did and regroup. And that's what she did. She thought what she did. She regrouped. She understood that it was wrong, and she understands that why she lost her job, and she got another job eventually down the line. And it's funny because the guy that interviewed her, it's like 10 years down the line, he wanted to interview her again, and she was like, "Nah, I'm good. Like, I want to keep my things private. Like, I'm not into this world anymore," and stuff like that. And I was just like, "Damn, like, that's crazy."
Yeah.
Yeah. But let's say you're a school teacher, you're a janitor, you're a retail associate, right? Like, any of those options. I think with the teacher one is mostly understandable because, let's say, like, you find out that your son's teacher is saying outlandish shit on Twitter. Do you really want your son, like, to be taught by somebody like that? I wouldn't.
Right.
But if you're a janitor, retail employee, whatever, you're, in a way, you're the face of the company. Especially if you're a retail employee. Like, you're the person the company, when a person goes into the store, you're the person they talk to, you're the person they see.
Right.
To an extent, you have to, in a way, represent that company that you work for outside of work. Because especially in today's society, when cancel culture finds out who you are and what you said, and they're like, "Oh, he works at this location." Not only do they know whether you work now, so not only are you target of somebody doing something bad to you, the company is now being looked at as a person that employs racism.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying I agree or disagree. I'm just saying, as a company, that's how they look at it.
I think as an employer, you have every right to terminate someone if they don't stand with your values, right?
Absolutely.
With your values, right?
Yeah. So like if someone says one of your employees says something outlandish, like you have every right to fire them. I don't think you should hold back or anything like that, right?
So when you say something outlandish, you mean like, okay, what if an employer is like, or what if an employee says something like, oh, you know, F N words, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or they say like F the, you know, the other F word in the LGBTQ, right? They say something like that, like, yeah, okay, by all means, like, yo, this person is homophobic, they're racist, something, they're prejudiced, like, not someone you kind of want, right?
Yeah,
but if they say something like, oh, last night I went out and I got really hammered and I accidentally threw up in my Uber driver's car, it's like, sorry, Uber driver, you know, like, here's the money to get it paid or whatever. It's like, should they get fired for that?
No,
but I don't think they would.
Nobody has ever been fired for that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
People have been fired for things like that, for saying like, oh, like putting too much of their personal life on the internet, where it shows somewhat, in a sense, like, not necessarily someone brings it up to them, but the employer is like, oh, hey, like, we saw that you tweeted this, or we saw that you posted this picture on Instagram, you know? Like right now, the biggest thing that's happening is a lot of women,
the medical
mostly,
thing,
who started OnlyFans are getting fired.
I really did not hear about that. Holy shit!
And I don't think that they should get fired from their
jobs. But I don't think that's actually cancel culture.
Oh, well, yeah,
because cancel culture is calling for their heads.
You calling out someone,
right?
Yeah. Okay,
all right. So we'll stick to that, and then we'll get to, because on the docket it says, should you get fired for something you posted on social media?
Because cancel culture,
we'll finish cancel culture, then we'll move on to that.
That's essentially a witch hunt,
right?
Yeah,
that's what cancel culture.
It's modern witch hunt. It's a modern witch hunt.
So where does it end though? Because I mean, obviously, you should never be homophobic. You should never, be racist or prejudiced, and you should, never make jokes in poor taste.
Like I said, I think it's 50-50. I think it's case by case. But there's one there's one example that I kind of felt bad. And I was just like, damn, like this one, I really don't know if that should have happened. So there was this in Minnesota. There's this guy, his daughter, he's the CEO of the company. And his daughter tweeted some crazy, like, racist shit. Like back when she was a teenager. She's 23 now. But back when she was a teenager, so about maybe like 8-9 years ago, she tweeted the N-word and just like a bunch of stuff. Black people, monkeys, things like that, right? And it was bad. They found out about it, and then they brought it up. So the guy, he fired his daughter, but then a bunch of people started boycotting the business, and a lot of the sponsors start pulling out because they're like a hummus company or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of restaurants don't want to serve his hummus anymore, and things like that. And now he's gonna pretty much, like, his business might fail,
right?
And it's like, at that point, I feel like that's a little too far.
Absolutely.
Me personally. Because it's like, he didn't do anything wrong. And I understand that you may learn from your parents, but at the same time, she could have learned from someone else. Or she could have just been with the wrong group of people. Yeah. Or she was just trying to impress or try to fit in with the wrong people or something like that, right?
Exactly.
And it's just like, and he said in an interview, like, she had problems when growing up. She was a troubled child. And she had, like, she had like therapy and shit like that, and she needed that when she was growing up. And it's just like, for me, that's a little too far. And she's not like that anymore. Like, she before all this blew up, she was in like Black Lives Matter protests, and she was like handing out waters and things like that. And it's just like, damn, like, that sucks, because like now this man's gonna lose a business, and he did the right thing. He fired his own daughter. Like,
that's already a tough call to make.
Yeah, like that right there. It's kind of respectful for me, because it's like, that's your daughter, and you like, you kicked the boot, like, you're like, yeah, bro, I'm sorry, you gotta go.
So that's the other thing I was trying to say.
Like that,
that's the other thing I was trying to say a little bit earlier. It's like, you should hold your kids accountable to a certain extent. Like, if you see it, call it out.
Yeah.
Right. But
sometimes you don't even know. Like, parents don't even check their kids' Twitter
or their kids.
Like,
who's
my
really
parents
know?
I know my parents never did. But the thing is also, it's like, kids don't know. They don't know any better. They're kids. Like, you can't really hold someone accountable for what they said when they were 12 and 13 years old.
Yeah.
Like everybody's making fun of it right now. It's like, oh, what if the Xbox Live chats were released tomorrow? It's like, what would happen? You know, like shit would happen.
Yeah.
You know, unfortunately, but it's like kids were 12, 13 years old. It's hard. You don't know any better. You're doing what you can. It's hard because you're dealing with puberty. You're dealing with trying to fit in. You're trying to find yourself. It's hard, man. Like people seem to always forget.
And that middle school time is rough, bro.
Exactly. And that's what I'm saying. Like people tend to forget how hard it is for kids to grow up, like kids to be kids, because they're so impressionable,
especially now with social media.
Exactly. And it's like when you grow up, all you think about is how easy it was when you were a kid, because it's like you didn't have any bills and stuff. But it's like, no, like you went through a lot of shit when you were a kid, because you were trying to make friends, you were trying to find yourself, you were trying to figure out what you liked, what you didn't like, what you wanted to do. Like there was while balancing a school schedule, while trying to maybe play sports or something. I don't know. But the point is, it's like you were trying to impress people who you obviously didn't know you didn't have to impress, because they were your friends at the time or whatever. And so it's crazy. It's like to try to hold a 13-year-old accountable for something they say when they're 13 is hard.
Not even especially hold her accountable, hold the whole family, the whole business, and like people that work there, they're probably gonna not have a job and things like that. So that's when, for me, like, at least in that example, like, it crossed the line a little bit. You know, like, if you were really looking for that social justice, she got fired. Right. And that's it. Right. There it goes, right? She lost her job. Now she has to find something to do or whatever the case may be, right? Right. But I don't feel like the whole family
needs to suffer for the mistakes.
And especially if there's no, like, and he said, I'm going to conduct an investigation and it's going to be, like, third party, whatever. And, like, I'm going to go down if I'm going to go down, I'm not going to go down because I'm a racist or whatever the case may be, right? I'm going to go down because and make sure I did everything possible to save like the business and everything, and make sure that everyone knows that I'm not that person. Like I'm not like I don't have those views.
Exactly.
So it's like, damn, like that sucks, bro. Because now you're paying for something that your daughter did maybe when she didn't know any better. Right. And it's just like, and you didn't do anything wrong. Yeah. So it's like that for me right there is like crossing the line.
Exactly. So if cancel culture is so prevalent, why didn't they try to cancel Hillary Clinton when she was running for president, when she clearly said back then that she didn't agree with gay rights? Or she didn't
cancel. They did try. That showed up a lot.
Nothing ever happened with it.
Well, yeah, because so a lot of those videos came up and a lot of those interviews came up, and she made a statement, and she released a press conference where she spoke about exactly what we spoke about, time and age. And, back then, gay rights was a taboo thing. Like that was a thing that nobody really wants to talk about, and legally it was never going to, like back then, it was never going to be a thing. So for her, it felt like it was a waste of time to even try to battle it. And two, that at its time to win votes and stuff like that, you didn't need to.
Oh, I mean, that's crazy. Like, I get that they're saying like, oh, it felt like a waste of time, but it's like to try to battle it, but it's like, at least try.
Yeah, but there was no need because there was not a community like there is now. The reason why gay rights, in my opinion, became a thing and there is laws now that protect them is because people came out and fought for it. Nobody knows what their constituents wants until the constituents speak out, until they start writing to their representatives and they start asking for change. If back then the hatred was so bad that people wouldn't say anything because they would get beat up, they would get outcasted by their communities.
Shunned.
Right.
So there was no real reason to back then.
I mean, dude, I remember like growing up and like being young, and people would say like, oh, God made Adam and Eve, not Adam and Steve. And I was just thinking, I'm like, why can't people just be with who they want to be? Why is that so bad? You know? And I remember thinking, I'm like, I don't think that people are saying it's like, it's a choice. When people were saying it's a choice, I'm like, why would someone want to make a choice
to make their life harder?
Exactly. To be a grown ass people. These aren't kids. These are grown people. Why do they want to make those choices to make their lives that much harder when they don't have to. It's like, I don't, like that. I was always thinking that, like, logically, it never made sense to me, ever. I was like, who are we to say, like, people can't just be with who they want to be, It's like you already live in this world that's like, at the time, like 9/11 was recent. And it's like the economy was failing harsh, like 08, right? 01 through 08 was really bad years, right? Things kept going uphill and downhill. And I just like, that was one of the social issues that got pushed to the back, right? Because it was just like, we're fighting a war, the housing market just collapsed, this and that. And I just remember thinking, I'm like, why does this matter so much? I remember always thinking, like, if you're supposed to separate church and state, why is there a law against these people getting married just because it's unchristian?
Yeah.
And none of it ever made sense to me. I'm like, and I was like 10, 11 years old, dude. And it didn't make any sense to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it still doesn't make sense. Why people still oppose it.
Doesn't at all.
Exactly.
It's just tough, man. Like I said, like if it's like if you say some off the wall shit, like I think you deserve to deal with all the consequences, right?
Yeah.
To go back to what we're talking about.
Exactly.
And there's maybe some instances where it's kind of like doesn't have to go all that way, but you just gotta be careful what you say, man. Like you gotta be careful what you post. Like
you do.
Like you just gotta think about stuff,
Right.
You gotta think before you just post anything.
Right.
Absolutely.
And there's no like Marco said earlier, there's just no room for when it comes to like the outlandish shit, like there's just no room for it.
Right.
And like I said, I understand people make mistakes, I understand people grow and stuff like that, but at the end of the day, like I said, for some certain actions, there's consequences.
Right.
And you just gotta be prepared to deal with it,
Yeah. And
this was another thing I was gonna say. That just reminding me, the witch hunt part. For cancel culture. Like, I understand if you're trying to bring something up and bring it up to the light and you want this person to get what they get, right? But I don't think it should cross the line of like people saying like, "Oh, I hope you die," or things like that, like sending
or
hateful
pull
shit.
up a person's personal address.
Yeah. Like I don't think it should ever go that far.
Yeah, you should.
If you want to be like quote, like you want to quote tweet it and be like, "This is wrong. You shouldn't say this," and it gets like attention, then you're calling it out, right?
Right.
Whatever. Cool. You're calling it out.
Mm-hmm.
You're holding them accountable. But I think that's as far as it should go. I don't think any of that other stuff should happen. If the employer finds out by themselves and, they get fired, then, that's a consequence.
Right.
But I don't think you need to go above and beyond and do all that, right?
Exactly.
Or like send hateful messages to them, right? Because at the end of the day, they're still a human being. And at the end of the day, like you're going to alienate them and you're going to maybe push them to really believe in what they actually said now.
Right. And
they're not going to change, or they're just going to do something bad to themselves, or they're just going to never recover from it, or whatever the case may be, because 100, like thousands of people sending you hateful shit, that shit's going to fuck someone up.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that part of cancel culture, I'm definitely like, that's too far from.
Yeah.
Right.
Bring a light to it, cool, but I don't think you should take it more than that.
No.
Hatred is fueled by hatred.
Exactly.
So
that part, I'm not, like, I'm just not. Like, I don't fuck with that.
Yeah, you should, like, no matter what someone says, like, they have a right to privacy. You should not post their address, their phone number, things like that on the internet. Like, to me, that's a little bit too much for anything anyone says.
Yeah.
Like, everybody has a right to feel safe in their own home.
Yeah.
If someone willingly gives you their address, like, all right, that's completely different. But you should have a right to feel safe, at least in your own four walls.
I think that, some situations definitely deserve it, where people maybe need to be held accountable, but some situations maybe don't. It just depends, it's case by case. Like I said,
Yeah.
For me personally, cancel culture is all case by case.
Absolutely.
Like, I really have to look at both sides, and then from there I can be.
And I think that's what everybody should do. It's like, always look at both sides of it. Always look at what someone is saying about something and what someone said, and always look at when things were said and what the person thinks of now, because what matters is what they think of at the moment. Now, what their current beliefs are.
Timeline wise, that's what definitely matters.
Because people change. People change all the time. People
Absolutely.
are capable of change. But
can I say something real quick?
Yeah, what's up?
I just want to mention the explosion today.
Yeah.
that devastated a lot of people in
There
Lebanon.
was an explosion today.
Yo, you didn't hear about that?
No, I don't.
Twitter.
I don't have social media, bro.
Okay, but like, damn, like, watch the news or something. Have the news app and alert you on your phone.
That's depressing. That's so depressing.
But yeah, it was an explosion in Beirut, Lebanon. A fireworks factory, but it's being compared to Nagasaki and Hiroshima level of destruction.
Crap, really?
Yeah, dude. Like the explosion could be heard 150 miles in radius.
Oh my god!
Not in diameter, in
Not
radius.
diameter, but radius. Yeah.
And it leveled, I think, diameter. Almost 15 miles worth of buildings.
Mm-hmm.
In radius as well.
It leveled 15 miles worth of build. Oh,
yeah.
Crap!
It was a little bit shorter than that, but like there was destruction all the way to 15 miles.
That's more than Manhattan. Yeah. That would have leveled all of Manhattan.
It was a really big
bad,
explosion. I'll show you after.
Crap.
But if you can, don't start. If you can donate, I was highly suggested. Just don't donate to any and all fundings. Start off right now with the Red Cross for Lebanon, and fund the Red Cross in Lebanon, because right now there's a lot of people creating fake accounts to feed off of this instead of actually sending the money over. They'll keep it for themselves.
That's fucked up.
So until there's not official pages and official websites where you can donate to the Red Cross of Lebanon, you can download the app on the App Store and donate straight to there. You can set up monthly or minimum of $2 today. Definitely try to help out as much as you can, because hospitals are sending people away because they either the hospital is too damaged to take people in, or they're too full.
Jesus.
So
Does the Salvation Army I'm sorry, you said Red Cross. Does Red Cross, so when you donate to Red Cross, actually go
part of
to
it,
the victims?
Part of it. But it's something right now. If you want to donate right now, it's something, because the ambulances in Lebanon, most of them are funded by the Red Cross. So to get more staff to work those ambulances, they need more money.
Mm-hmm.
So for now, try to fund that for now until we can get more official,
like a more direct way to actually help.
Yeah, but I highly suggest, if you can, spare your $2 and donate to the cause.
Less than a cup of coffee.
Yeah,
sure, man. And we send our prayers out to the people that lost their loved ones, and people that are fighting for their lives, and hope they recover. And hopefully that's heavy, man.
Yeah,
that's heavy.
Yeah. Well, on that bombshell, it's time for us to end. Thank you for joining us for another episode of Los Compadres podcast. Don't forget to interact with us on Instagram at Los Compadres Pod, and on Twitter at Los Compadres Pod. And, if you want us to talk about something, let us know. If you want to, tell us to stop doing this, tell us to stop doing it. Or you can rate us 5 stars if you think we're worth 5 stars. Or 3 or 2, who cares? It doesn't matter. Just leave us a rating. If you can leave a rating, share it with your friends. Tell them that, if we're funny, tell them we're funny. If we're not funny, then just tell them
don't listen to
this podcast ever. Just mention it. Say, don't ever listen to Los Compadres podcast. People tend to do the opposite anyway. So
yeah, probably.
Right. And also you can check us out on YouTube, youtube.com/GenShock 2020. We are on, what was it? June 29th?
I don't know.
June 28th.
Mm-hmm.
You can check us out on that video. That's our second channel. We made a second channel where we co-host a different podcast. GenShock 2020. Check them out. They're a subset of Los Compadres podcast. We approve their topics and stuff like that. So we have final say. If you guys don't like what they're doing, just let us know and we can cancel them. All right. Have a great day. Bye.